Hello everybody, this is TipTop MTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, we are playing a little bit of a game, and it is going to be similar to what I've done in the past, but a little bit broader. And so what I'm doing today is I'm going to give myself 10 minutes to come up with as many Magic the Gathering products as I possibly can, and then I'm going to come back at the end and kind of talk about which ones are my favorite. And so this is going to be a fun little challenge. I do stuff like this all the time with custom Magic cards. However, generally I'm talking about more card designs, for instance, turning random words into random mechanics. So that's a lot of fun. So if you like this kind of content, I do have some more of it on the channel as well. This is the first time I'm putting myself to a hard cap, and yeah, so we're going to go through this. I'm going to kind of just come up with product ideas, and I have purposely tried to not think about this. So this is going to be a challenge for me. I may only end up coming up with 2, but we're really going to have to see what happens here. I'm kind of expecting this to be a train wreck, but let's find out. So I'm essentially going to just come over here and start the timer, and we will be off. I'll be editing the names of each product in the white box that you're seeing, so that you can keep track of how many I have come up with, but I'm not typing anything out just because I want this time to be all about thinking, not spending it typing it out, and I also want this to be uncut. Alright, so let's jump right into this. Alright, so starting off, I think there are some very easy ones. I mean, I could name things like, oh, I think that they should do Commander Masters. I predicted that. And I think that is true. I'm just going to kind of put more Master sets, and to be more specific, and I'm only going to count this really as one thing. We could do Commander Masters. Could be cool to see like a Pauper Masters. We could do kind of what we did with Double Masters, but make it kind of like Enchantment Masters instead of Artifact Masters. But I don't think that's really interesting product design. What is some sort of product that could be a new design that could be really fun? And I think something that could be really, really cool is being able to fit more filler words while you try to think of something. Right now, I'm thinking in the realm of Jumpstart. That was a very, very fun and unique set. Is there something that you could do that was somewhat similar to that? Could you do like, all right, what if these are called like Rubik's decks? Name really will changing probably, but Rubik's decks, essentially, instead of just being packs like Jumpstart, they are half decks that are a little bit more advanced. They come like a set, instead of a booster pack, it's kind of more of a deck, and it's intended more for newer players, but it can be fun. You combine the two together, you get a deck box maybe with each, or maybe you get like half a deck box you can connect with another one. I don't know, they like to do gimmicky things like that. And you end up with these like half decks, and then maybe like they come in different colors, so you can pick what color combination you want, but you don't know what you're gonna get. So it's very similar to Jumpstart, but it's more decks than packs, and it comes with, all the lands similar to Jumpstart. And it could be really cool if every year, instead of like, having it be this product for like 3 or 4 years, instead every year they just add a couple more themes and maybe take some of the old ones out, and then you get this really cool kind of product. And I think that could be kind of interesting. I really like the idea of Jumpstart. By the way, just to reference, I'm not going to be naming like standard sets like, oh, we could return to Innistrad. No. I'm going to come up with unique products, not necessarily sets. What else could be kind of interesting? I mean, there are lots of very interesting ideas that you could do, but honestly, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be able to come over here and just like rattle off like 15 different products. What I think could be kind of cool is maybe we see... let me think. What formats could use maybe a product or something that could be kind of interesting for them? I mean, we take a look at Commander. They like to do stuff with Commander. So what if they did, so we have Signature Spellbook, which is mainly meant for Planeswalkers. What if we had a new collection type product called like Commander's Arsenal, or Commander, that's probably taken somewhere, but Commander's Toolbox or something? And or like some product, and I don't know what the name is. Let's call it commander and spells. It is essentially you get a commander and then you get like 5 or 6 cards that work well with the commander, all with custom new art and frames that all match. So you might get a commander that likes to flicker things, and then you get something that when it ETBs, you draw 2 cards. And like these are reprint cards, they're not brand new cards, and they are literally just so that if you want to play with that commander, you can kind of get this jumpstart of some good ideas and some cards that work well. And meanwhile, you can also get a cool alternate art card for your commander because, you know, people like having their commanders be blinged out. I think that makes a lot of sense. And also people like having the cards in their deck match their commander. And I think you could take some cards that maybe aren't related and somehow with the art make them related. I think that could be cool. Now, while coming up with that, I came up with another one called Commander's Toolkit, kind of like a deck builder's toolkit, and it's what I really wanted Commander Collection Green to be. Instead of it being like cool alternate arts, alternate frames, instead it is kind of a kit. Like you can pick this up and it will be like Commander's Arsenal Green, right? Or Commander Toolkit Green. And it gives you basically a playset, maybe not a playset, sorry, just like a collection of cards that can fit in almost any green deck. You get yourself a Soul Ring, a Command Tower with the new art that looks green, very similar to those, and then you get like a Cultivate, maybe you get any kind of green staple, and then you get a blue version of that, and then you can kind of pick this up, and you should be able to basically throw all of those cards just into a deck, and they're just the generic good blue spells you want. And by doing this, you can take the cards that have kind of become staples and that every deck could benefit from having and make them more accessible, which, yes, in the short term could make it so that like they quote unquote lose money by, you know, they talk about how reprints and whatever, they like to have high value reprints because they then can generate excitement, and they may lose that in the short run, but I think in the long run it'll lead to more commander players, more players staying invested as they don't feel like they are unable to keep up. And I think that would be a really awesome thing, and then maybe you could expand upon it in the future, make future iterations, maybe make multicolor iterations. I think it could be really cool. So Commander's Toolkit is the name I'm going for there. Let's think. What else could you do? I'm thinking about Commander right now because I think there's lots of versatility there, but I think there are also other products that could be kind of cool that maybe aren't in that same vein. What could be cool? Okay, here's kind of an interesting product. I don't think it'll ever happen, but what if we had like a standard masters? And I know this sounds ridiculous, but what if it was a small product with not too many cards, but it was kind of this product that just contained some of the most played cards in standard, and what it is it's there to reduce the price. And what that does is it allows a new booster experience where players can get some of the best cards they're going to need for standard, therefore making it easier to get those cards. But it'll also bring down the prices, which means standard will be more accessible to people, which I think standard, that's one of the great things, is that it's supposed to be super accessible. But sometimes you get these cards that are really expensive and they're not going to get a reprint. And they may not need it necessarily, but by doing this, then you make everything cheaper, which means that people can play the game. And then maybe they do go into the other formats and, you know, more expensive cards and whatever. But by doing this, they can kind of resell the cards that they've already designed. So that's a win for them. And, you know, they're getting the money instead of people like Card Kingdom. And then players have, you know, cheaper things to, you know, cheaper cards, and standard decks become relatively cheaper. And honestly, it'd be kind of, you know, cool to do this with other formats. And I know it is kind of modern, you know, we have Masters, and Modern Masters kind of does that. But if it was a little bit more up to date and current, just like everything in the meta where there's a lowering the price of it, which I know they wouldn't want to do, but I think it would be a really interesting product. I would call that standard Masters. No, I don't think it would really fit Masters. It would be called like format toppers, and then it'll be like :standard. I don't know, that could be something kind of interesting. They do all sorts of weird products, and I'm trying to think what else they could do. We've talked about box sets. We've kind of talked about Rubik's decks, which really weird idea, not probably a good one, but it's probably a little close to Jumpstart. We talked about some Commander stuff. Is there any other realm I really haven't thought about too much? I mean, maybe we see some sort of product that's like maybe a weird deck that, So we've had things like Game Night in the past, and we have Unsanctioned. What if every year they do something kind of different? Maybe we see a Okay, here's a product. Really very random. It's a no, that's kind of what a booster box is. I would say like a draft box that gives you everything you need to draft, but that's kind of already just a booster box, and all you need are packs. So, what if we had a product that I'm running out of ideas here. We could talk a little bit about standard more. What if, in addition to everything they release, they, alongside, okay, this one's kind of a weird idea, but I guess it's a product idea. What if, whenever they release a set, you know how they used to do Planeswalker decks? What if they did good decks that weren't Planeswalker decks? That they signify themes from the set. And I know they do Commander decks, but Commander and Standard, the two biggest formats. What if they did two Commander decks, two standard decks? And so, for instance, if we were to do this for Zendikar, we would have gotten a party and an equipment standard deck. And maybe these wouldn't be like the top of the top, but it would allow you to get yourself a deck to play with, and it would be more powerful than a Planeswalker deck, and maybe about the same power level or slightly below a Challenger deck. I think that could be kind of cool. Okay, quickly, let's try to do one more. What if we had Challenger decks, but for modern? And so these were called like ancient powers, and essentially they were Challenger decks but modern decks, and then you can go on to expand upon it, and it would be really cool because then you could play those formats for cheaper. So it can be for all the formats. All right, that is 10 minutes. Looking back on them, there are definitely some that I think have more merit than others. I mean, standard toppers is kind of that's kind of just standard masters, and I don't know how well that would necessarily do. I think it would definitely need to be a very, very small set done in a very weird way. I like the idea of Challenger decks for other formats. I like both the Commander things I came up with the Commander's Toolkit and like the Commander, what did I call it? Commander and spells or whatever. I think those are all really awesome. I think products that make things easier and are not a cash grab, not preventing you from getting access to cards, but instead just make things easier to acquire cards. I think these would all be really cool products. You can probably see the fullest of them on screen right now. I want to know what you guys think about them and what products you've thought of that may be kind of interesting. This has been really fun, and I think I may do it again, although as I do more of these, they're going to become harder and harder, so we'll see. If you guys like it, leave a like, and I will think about doing it again. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button like I just told you to do like 30 million times, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.